Everybody, Father Peter here. My weekly video update. Thanks for tuning in. You can see over my shoulder, Jesus is still bursting out of the tomb. It's the first week of Easter. Also, representing St. Mark's here, thanks John Kennedy for the logo wear. I'd like to bring you up to speed here a little bit on how I am thinking about where we are, and then talk a little bit about media ministry. So, I think of this as an HBO special or a Netflix special. And starting on Shrove Tuesday, when Sarah Lou Walker asked me, what is the Corona plan? That first question found season 1 all the way to the Vidor Toccata postlude with everybody's picture. During that period, which of course was Lent and Holy Week and Easter, we as a community did a few things. The first thing is we mobilized for pandemic. And in mobilizing for a pandemic, we really moved from meeting face-to-face to meeting digitally. Now let me say a little bit of what it means to meet digitally. So as we head into season 2, which is the time period from Easter week all the way through to summertime, I think of this as pandemic as lifestyle, our settling in to living with the pandemic. In that time, we have moved from gathering face-to-face to gathering digitally. We've moved from having the sanctuary be the center of our life together to some degree having the website be the center of our life together. So let's frame all that in our mission. So our mission is to go and make disciples who live a deeper life in Christ, a more holy communion with one another, and a greater love for the world. That go-ness, that evangelical call that Jesus gives in all of the Gospels is for us to go into the community, to bring people, to make disciples, to make followers of Jesus. That is the Great Commission, and that is the basic business of our parish. But since we can't meet face-to-face and social distancing is the thing of the day, we now do that through the internet. So let's talk about that. As many of you know, we have themed years, and in 2013 and in 2014, we had a themed year called Co-Creators with God in the Next New World. Remember, one of our speakers came in to talk about the next new world in his industry, and his wife said to him, what does that have to do with Jesus? And my answer was, the future is a pastoral problem. I came upon this really when the Episcopal Church worked with Bob Johansen and the Institute for the Future out of Palo Alto. I had the great pleasure of hearing Bob speak on more than one occasion and then having lunch with him. And it became very clear to me that the future was going to be massively disrupted, and it was going to disrupt people's lives as individuals, it was going to disrupt industries, and it was going to disrupt the church. I will say parenthetically that Bob did forecast this pandemic and a worldwide shutdown. And I remember hearing it and shuddering and thinking, ugh, what he predicted has come true. Beginning in 2014, we really mobilized to move toward digital ministry, what is now known as media ministry. So what are the elements of that? So that has to do with our website, right? That has to do with our streaming capability. It has to do with now Zoom, being able to meet on Zoom, having a YouTube page, and of course being present through social media of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We are in all of those platforms. We've been working on this for years, and so when the physical shutdown came, where we literally had to shutter the doors, where we couldn't meet face-to-face, we just simply raised up the digital and media ministry that we were already all about, and that became the emphasis on the syllable. Let me give you a sense of this. So let's take a look at the numbers around Holy Week and Easter. So on Easter morning, Sunday morning with Mike, or Mike and the Mad Minister, as somebody called it the other day, we had 343 devices tuning in. So by devices, I mean, it could be your cell phone, it could be a laptop, there could be several people sitting around it, but our streaming company says 343 devices tuned in. They also said for the 10 o'clock stream, there was 1,100 devices that tuned in. That's not to say that there weren't families sitting around watching it. Thank you for those of you who sent in pictures of your family sitting around watching church in your PJs. Really, really fun to see that. Some interesting things fall out of the statistics here. Wait to hear this. The community where most people watched, Norwalk. Number 2, Westport. Number 3, New Canaan. Surprised me. Also, we had people tuning in from the UK, Canada, France, South Korea, Hong Kong, Singapore, the Virgin Islands, Spain, and Denmark. Somebody had suggested that perhaps I might give my next sermon in a different language. Working on that. Well, also to know that on Easter Sunday, 3,479 hits to our website, and that was 518 new people came to our website on Easter Day. That's 51% of the people that showed up at our website. Say a little bit about Holy Week here. So during Holy Week, our website had 8,154 hits on it, and 58% of the people to the website were new to the website during Holy Week. The average time that somebody spent on our website was 2 minutes and 8 seconds, which I think is quite shocking, given that when we first put up statistics, or Megan would first share those statistics, she'd say things like, well, people tuned into your sermon there, Peter. They lasted 2.4 seconds. So we're making progress, so to speak. In addition, Holy Week videos, the daily videos that were made here on my prayer mat, and the videos from the sermons and the videos of the actual liturgies, there were over 2,000 views of those videos. And in addition, the daily videos that were made at this mat, there was over 1,300 views of those videos. We also send out e-blasts, right? We use a service called Mad Mimi, and the open rate that we normally have is about 53%, which is really incredible, given that the average open rate of a Mad Mimi or an e-blast tends to be around 18. And those numbers go up even into the 60s when we talk about sending out blasts for those who died in our community. I want to also say that I'm particularly moved by the creativity of the staff and the lay people of our parish to move us from just streaming to new ways of doing business together. Shout out in particular to Eric Lukes, who helped envision and then put together the wonderful Zoom of the Passion narrative. Those of us who watched the Brady Bunch when we were kids never could have imagined that the death of Jesus would come to us through Zoom or through that same box format later. So that was really beautifully and well done. Many, many people helped to make that really go. I want to also have a shout out to the beautiful Toccata slideshow at the end. And I must say, I knelt there in the church and watched it for the first time, and I wept, particularly when I saw the faces of those in our community who are dear to us and who died. Shout out also, of course, to Ned, the maestro and now chief mixer of music, and how he brought together the people at home to put together Jesus Christ is risen today, and also, of course, Christ is alive. These gatherings of the community that are put together and then streamed in through the stream are things that we will continue to work on as we're in season 2. Season 2, of course, being pandemic as lifestyle. I also want to draw your attention to a few people on the staff. Certainly, you see the clergy, you know the clergy. Jill is now a reader and quite well known in the congregation, and Syra, the one named person like Pele and St. Jan, who has her own church with the church school. But I want to attract your attention to some people who work tirelessly and beautifully behind the scenes who you may not know as well. And the first of these is Megan, and I know that they're going to pull up Megan Farrell's picture for you. Megan is our Director of Communications. And Megan has always been working in the digital format, but often so much of her time has been dedicated to making the paper, to making the beautiful Fully Alive posters. That was her artwork, by the way, that we all see. But now Megan is really a machine that she's not a machine, a human being working incredibly hard to bring all of us into the greater world, and grateful to Megan. Want to also show you Rob Schwartz. If you've not seen Rob before, Rob is sits at that centerpiece desk in the office, and if you've ever come in, you always see Rob. But Rob is a maestro of video, and all of the great video stuff that comes out is because it goes through Rob's machinery, and he makes even me sound and sometimes even look good. And we're grateful to Rob for the skills that he brings. He went to SCAD, studied movie making, and now he's doing all that to the glory of God. And the third person I want to show you is Beth Ralston. Beth is my executive assistant, but she's so much more than that. She serves in many different capacities in the church. And I want to attract your attention to Beth in particular because she is coordinating the help movement, the passing of the peace, which is what we're calling our reaching out to people. So if you need help, reach out to Beth. If you need, you'd like to volunteer, reach out to Beth. If you'd like to have a prayer request, reach out to Beth. I encourage you to reach out to Beth if you have any issues. I encourage you to reach out to Megan and Rob if you have digital issues. How do I connect? What am I supposed to do? All of these people are in the business of helping. Believe it or not, Rob and Beth and Megan combined 2 weeks before the breakout of the pandemic to meet with the elders of our community in the Wisdom Circle and to train them in the digital world. Who would have guessed that the work they were doing now would be so needed to live and make holiness in the life we have together? And finally, I want to say, let us lean into the digital world here. Not too long ago, there was great consternation about how this was dividing our planet and breaking us down. There wasn't enough face-to-face contact, but now we can see that this mode of being together actually has an incredible positive power. And I want to highlight one story just at the end. So as you may or may not remember, on Maundy, Thursday, after we stripped the altar, we brought the reserved sacrament to the chapel of repose. And there we put the bread of Holy Communion and the presence candle to burn the night long, remembering Jesus in the garden. Remember, Jesus said, can you not stay awake? That agony in the garden. We kept the streaming camera on that all night long. And I will say, out of that came an incredible holiness. Just shocking, really, to me. I received incredible stories, one of which one of our beloved parishioners in Florida outside holding up the stream of the communion here and the moon here, lying outside, listening to the surf and just being present to the presence that is in that communion. And then going inside and reading the Passion narrative from John's Gospel. Somebody else getting up very early in the morning in the pre-dawn darkness while their spouse was asleep and just simply being present to the sacrament through her phone. And then another person in our community getting up in the morning and putting it on their big TV, and there it was, the stream of the sacrament, and then settling down to say his prayers and to be in that virtual presence. So let us lean in to this mode, in this medium. Let us seek the holiness that is there to be had in the faces of our friends, in the faces of all human beings. And let's lean into the holiness that the Lord can bring us, because let us not box the Lord out, right? Because what does it say in Luke's gospel? What does Jesus say in Luke's gospel? What is impossible for human beings is not impossible for God. So let's lean into the possibility of God being holy through this medium and to each of us. So peace and blessings on this. It is a Friday morning for me, and I hope it is a peaceful time for you too. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye.